I have two younger brothers at the time that the story unfolded. They were at the ages of 6 and 8. They both shared a room in our apartment, with my room to the left of theirs and my mother's to the right. One dark December evening, I was up late in my room, reading a book. I was getting a bit drowsy, so I decided to call it a night. Switching my bedside lamp off, I closed my eyes. Not 2 seconds later, I hear a faint creak come from the next room, which is my brother's room. I dismissed it as just the house settling. It was quiet after that, which seemed to just justify my dismissal. But the silence only lasted so long. Another creak, this time louder and more prolonged. Suddenly, not too sure of the source of the sound, I silently got up and stepped up to the door, which was cracked open to reveal a dimly lit hallway. Out in the hallway, I looked towards my brother's room. The door was slightly ajar, darkness the only visible thing on their other side. Cautiously, I reached out and slowly pushed the door inwards. It took a moment for my eyes to adjust, but when they did, my heart nearly jumped out my throat. The silhouette of a tall, gangly man was hunched over one of the boys, long-fingered hands nearly resting on the comforter. As the light from the hallway fell on him, the man calmly turned to face me. I stood framed in the doorway, terrified and confused. He raised a single hand to his lips in a shh gesture and slid the finger across his throat. The man turned about once more to face the window, which was already wide open. With one graceful leap, he disappeared into the night. It hit me right then that his gesture was a threat. Tell anyone and you'll get it. I never told my mum, or my brothers for that fact. I'm always worried that if I do, he'll find me and carry out his threat. My mum works nights and I like to stay at home alone. Well, until this happened. So I'm on the couch on my computer, minding my own business, when I hear a voice in the hallway. The landlord had told us previously that he was having a visitor, so I didn't think much of it until I hear screaming in the hallway. Now I start getting scared because I was home alone by myself. So I open the door a crack and I see this guy in the hall with a creepy look on his face. At this point, I was already ready to panic. I called the landlord and told him about the guy, hoping he was the visitor. But I was wrong. The landlord came upstairs and looked at the guy and said that he's never seen this guy before. He told me to lock my door and go into the back of the house until he gets rid of this guy. Turns out the guy lived in the basement and no one knew until now. This guy looked at me and started to walk to my door. The landlord stopped him in time. Then he called the police, and the building is now safe. So creepy guy, let's not meet again. So this happened to me when I was about 12 years old. One night I was sleeping in my room. It was summer, so I had my window open a bit, and I was sleeping in my boxes this night, and didn't use blankets since it was extremely hot. Anyways, it was hard to sleep, so I was going to get up to get some ice, and when I opened my eyes, there was a man looking at me, with his arm moving under his waist. I think you know what he's doing. And he's breathing heavily. I'm a dude, so I was fucking creeped out. My mom's room was next to mine, so I knocked on the wall, and in a minute or two, she came into my room and saw the man. She started yelling at the top of her lungs at him, and he ran off. She called the police, and he was found in the alleyway finishing up what he was doing earlier. The cops arrested him. The next day we got a call, and they told my mum that he'd been watching me sleep for a couple of weeks. And he said that was the first night that he ever greased the pan while watching me. I no longer live there anymore, but I still hate that a man watched a younger kid sleep. So man in my window, let's not meet. There's a really, really neat video game store near my house. Seeing as it's within biking distance, and it's summer so I have plenty of free time, I've been window shopping there for about twice a week. Yesterday, however, I ran into someone I could only describe as an interesting individual. At first he didn't seem too scary. In his 20s, well-groomed, average enough. He looked like he could have been friends with my older brother, so I figured it would be safe not being in the same aisle as him. You know, you have the prettiest hair. I just kinda nodded and said thanks. I dyed it green on a whim, and I'd always been plenty used to getting comments on it. It looks like Paulantina's, he continued, which I assumed was a compliment and thanked him again, which he apparently took as an invitation to go into elaborate detail on how much he wanted Paulantina to shit on his face, along with other fictional women. I just kind of froze, focusing on the shelves, and pretending that he wasn't describing getting shat on the face like it was the greatest thing in the fucking universe. Before he could finish, he quoted that I wasn't listening, sighed like he was disappointed, and left. So, 20-year-old guy with a shit fetish, let's not meet, please. So about a year ago, I was working at Subway near the strip club. I wouldn't say that I'm attractive, but I guess some customers that came out around graveyard time said that I was. I get complimented a few times, but nothing too creepy beyond, I bet your husband slash partner feels very lucky to have you. I would normally just make their sandwich and smile and let them on their way. One night, though, a guy, I guess, took very particular interest in me. Everything about him made my stomach hurt, but I smiled my best smile and tried to make his sandwich as quickly as possible. Now, what happened next, I was alarmed. Being alone in the store, I was always kind of afraid, especially since it was 1 in the morning in Las Vegas. The dude started to ask me if I was married, and I replied that I was. But this didn't seem to deter him. He asked how my husband went down on me, and I was even more frightened, and I told him that was none of your business, all while trying to smile and be polite as possible. He continued to harass me, and tell me that he could eat me for hours, and fuck for longer than that. At this point, I wanted to call 311 and get a cop to come and help me out, since there was no one else seemed to want sandwiches from me at this time. But he wouldn't let me go, and in the cameras, my bosses would have think that I was slacking off, but I was afraid of leaving him and robbing the store or something. Eventually, I tried to ask him to leave, and he did after several times. I thought I was safe from him, but I wasn't. He came back a few hours later, around the time I got off, and I freaked out. I called my boss and told her about it. She laughed at me, not believing something like this would happen. When she arrived, he was there, still harassing me, but he was doing it sitting down with some McDonald's. He tried to tell my boss that he knew me, but I think at this point she knew that I was really scared. She stood up for me and eventually got him to leave the store. But I had to get my husband to come to the store so he could drive me home, because at that point I was really rattled. I never saw him again. So creepy guy who tried to hook up with me at Subway and tried to take me home, let's not meet again. Hey guys, so I hope you enjoyed that Let's Not Meet video. What is it, number 4 now. I hope you enjoyed it, and remember to like and subscribe for more videos and support the channel. And as always, thanks for watching.